Hey y'all, it is Kandi. Thanks for joining me on my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the carnivore diet and eating a meat-based diet after having bariatric surgery. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have the questions, can you do a heavy meat-based diet after having a bariatric surgery? And the answer is yes. So you may be wondering what makes me qualified to answer that. Stick around and I will let you know. So if this is the first time that you have joined me on my channel, I want to thank you for taking your time to stop by. My name is Kandi. I do videos weekly on the carnivore lifestyle and a ketovore-based lifestyle. And I do make some cooking videos and just videos in general about trying to get healthy. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and you will be notified the next time that I send out a video. All right, y'all, so you may not know this, but about 13 years ago, I had the gastric sleeve. I was about 280 pounds when I had the gastric sleeve. I will put a couple pictures up here showing me at that weight. I do not have many pictures of me at that time because I hated pictures. I did everything I could to avoid pictures being taken. Let me tell you, it was awful to be me in a 280-pound body. I do have spinal muscular atrophy, and at that time I did not know that I had that. And just moving at 280 pounds at 5'4" and having spinal muscular atrophy was horrific. After having bariatric surgery and having the gastric sleeve, I got down to 185 pounds. So I lost 95 pounds pretty quickly in 6 months, but immediately started gaining. Got back up to 245 pounds when COVID hit. So COVID hit, I was back up to 245 pounds, started doing keto, carnivore, and fasting. Started playing around with those three things. Got down to 165 pounds. So I got down to lower than I was ever at with the gastric sleeve. And then I came down with COVID. When I was sick with COVID, I gained 10 pounds during that week that I was really sick and immediately started gaining again. January 2024, I got back up to 209 pounds. And that's when I really started kicking it in and doing just carnivore. So now today I am 173.2 pounds. So finally the weight is coming off slowly. I have not gotten back down to my lowest, which is, the 165, but I'm slowly losing. But I'm here to tell you, you can do carnivore after having the gastric sleeve and after having gastric bypass. And I wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to do it. So first of all, fasting may not be in your future, especially in the beginning. When you have bariatric surgery, it is hard to eat a lot, especially in the beginning, especially protein. And what is the carnivore diet made of is nothing but protein and fats. So fasting may not be for you, especially in the beginning. You're going to have to break up your meals into smaller meals. Don't get stuck on the idea that you have to do long extended fasts. If you have to do 3 meals a day, if you have to do 5 meals a day, if you have to do 7 meals a day, that's what you do. Break up your meals into enough meals that you can hit your protein goal, whatever it may be. A lot of people choose 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of ideal body weight. You're just going to have to choose what that is for you, but I would not go lower than 100 grams of protein. When you start lowering your protein too much, you're going to start losing your hair, and we all know we lose hair with bariatric surgery in the first place. You do not want to lose any more hair than you already have with the bariatric surgery. So break up your meals in as much as you need to. I wouldn't say snack all day long, but have tiny meals so that you hit your protein goal. The further out from your surgery you are, the easier it is to eat bigger portions. Some of us have stretched our bariatric surgery out a little bit. I can eat way more now, 13 years out, than I could in the very beginning. Now I can eat 8 ounces of meat, but it may take me an hour to eat it. I still cannot eat as much as I ever could before, but I can eat way more now. So please do not get stuck with the idea that to make a diet work or the carnivore diet work that you have to do extended fasts, that you have to do intermittent fasting. You can build up to that if that's something that you want to do. But in the beginning, especially if you're newly out from the surgery, you've got to focus on your protein and getting that in. Another tip is you need to choose meats that are not dry. So I remember in the beginning, I cooked a pork chop one day or a pork loin, something like that, and I ate it and I thought I was good. And about 20 minutes later, I got so sick, and it was because it was not digesting, and it just came right back up, and the meat was just too dry, and I ate it too fast. So you need to choose meats that are not dry. I would stick with hamburger. If you choose to eat chicken, make sure it is not dry. Don't overcook it by any means. If you choose a steak, do not choose a dry cut of steak. So choose steaks and meats that are not dry. You can eat eggs as long as they sit well with you. You do not want to eat a piece of meat that is too dry. Make sure you cut your meat up into smaller bites and chew, chew, chew. I am very guilty, even 13 years out. I was never good at thoroughly chewing my food, and I never did get very good at that, even in the beginning. So make sure you chew your food extremely well. That will already start to digest the food before you swallow it. So drinking water at meal times, you may still need to avoid that. I still do avoid drinking water at meal times. If you must, then just take a couple small sips. But as much as possible, you may need to avoid drinking with your meals still. And I know a lot of carnivores still drink seltzer waters, especially the unflavored seltzer waters. I do. They do not cause me issues. But as a bariatric patient, we have been told not to drink carbonated beverages. So especially if you are a new bariatric patient and new to carnivore, Pellegrinos and Topo Chicos and things like that, even though they're not an actual soda, they still do have fizz, so they may not be in your future. You will have to test them out, but they still could hurt your pouch, hurt your surgery, and cause you discomfort and some pain. So those may not be in your future, even though you see other carnivores drinking them. I know that you all have heard of dumping syndrome, and we have heard of that, especially with eating sugary treats. Well, sugary treats are not on the carnivore diet, as you know, but some of us still experience the dumping syndrome with fat. So that is because, the food that we eat is going into our small intestine pretty quickly. So that fatty food will still cause some of us the dumping syndrome. So if you are having some of that dumping syndrome coming on after you're eating fattier meat, try choosing leaner meats, especially in the beginning until you get used to eating more fatty meats. You could always eat chicken breast. You could always eat a leaner ground beef. You can always make sure that you drain the fat off of the ground beef. You can cut the fat off of the ribeye, and I know that this is such a travesty to a lot of the carnivores that love to eat the fat. When we eat carnivore, but you don't have to. You can still do a carnivore diet without eating all of the high fat, especially if your stomach is still getting used to eating the fat. There's no reason to make yourself sick if you're not used to it. You can still build up a tolerance because the carnivore diet is not just a diet for a week or for a couple weeks. You can build it up as the time goes along. So in the beginning, if you do need to eat less of that heated fat and the rendered fat that's more liquefied, and you still want to include more fat in your diet, try eating cold butter. That's going to give you a higher fat content, and it's cold, so it's not going to affect your stomach the same way as the heated fat's going to. As much as you can, steer away from protein shakes. I know that when we have the bariatric surgery, at least for me, the doctor really pushed those protein shakes. And I really didn't drink them because I remember one of my coworkers seeing that powdered, protein shake that I put in the water one time, and she made some comment about it being infamil. And all I could think of was baby milk. And it just grossed me out to no end. And so I stopped drinking it from that point on because I could not even get it out of my head. And I just hated it ever since then. So in the very beginning, a couple weeks out, I stopped drinking the protein shakes because all I could think of was baby formula every time I drank it, or every time I even looked at it and smelled it. All I could think of was baby formula. So if, as much as you can, stay away from protein shakes. Try to get your protein from whole foods. Try to get it from cheese. Try to get it from eggs, meat. You don't have to do just red meat. There's all kinds of meat out there. You can do fish. You can do chicken. You can do beef and lamb and pork. You have to play around with the meats and find some meats that are not going to upset your stomach because of the fact that it's too dry for you. All the meats are going to affect different people differently. So there are going to be some preferred meats that your stomach is going to like better than others. Me, I love ground beef. I could eat hamburgers all the time. That is one of my favorite meats, and it just so happens that that is probably the cheapest one out there. So ground beef is where it's at for me. I could live off of ground beef, ribeyes, and pork belly. And, that just so happens to be what I'm doing right now is B, 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 and E. And that for me is working wonderfully. So if you'd like to check out my 30-day B, B, B&E journey, I will link it up right here, and you can see how much I lost in the 30 days that I did my B, B&E challenge. And I loved it so much, I'm going to continue it for longer. If anybody out there is watching this video and you are thinking, should I have bariatric surgery or should I do carnivore, and you have not had the bariatric surgery yet, I would highly encourage you to give carnivore a go first, because bariatric surgery is going to mess with your metabolism a bit, maybe a lot, as in my case. Because yes, it's going to work. Yes, it's going to allow you to lose weight. But if you do not change your eating habits, you are going to gain the weight back. So if I would have just did what I'm doing now before I had surgery, I would have never had to have surgery. I could have done this 13 years ago and been where I'm at now 13 years ago. So how does that make sense? I just don't know. It doesn't make sense. I could have been so much healthier 13 years ago instead of going through all the crap that I've gone through, in trying to get healthy. So I highly encourage you to think about it. If you have not had the surgery, think long and hard. Now, I know that some people out there just do not believe in themselves enough, do not think that they are strong enough to lose the weight without the surgery and without the help of the surgery. And if you have to have it, I am not judging you because I have been there myself and I get it. So if you've already had the surgery and you're thinking and wondering, can I do a heavy meat-based diet? Can I do keto? Can I do carnivore after I've had bariatric surgery? The long story short is yes, you can. Yes, you can, and yes, you should. Because the lifestyle is so much healthier. You're going to heal so many things. Bariatric surgery did not take away my pain. It did not take away the inflammation in my joints. It did not take away my ankles that were killing me. It did not do so many things that the carnivore and ketovore-based lifestyle did for me. So, if you are thinking about it, my friends, do it. Just do it. Give it 30 days. Give it 30 good days. Not 30 half-assed days where you're going to, just do it half-assed. Give it a good go. that takes a transition period. You're going to have a transition period where you may have some diarrhea. I did. You're going to maybe have the keto flu where you don't feel so good, especially if you're jumping straight into carnivore. You may want to ease into it. It depends on you. You're going to have to figure it out if you want to ease into it. I was already doing low carb. I was already doing keto before I went into carnivore. I didn't do it in steps though. I went from keto just to carnivore. I didn't give it up in little increments. I just was keto, and then the next day I was carnivore. But I didn't go from the standard American diet straight into carnivore. I already knew how the keto lifestyle was. But even going from keto into carnivore, I still experienced diarrhea. I still experienced headache and nausea and things like that. But that's how you know that you are withdrawing from crappy food, because you are experiencing withdrawal syndrome. And that's what the keto flu is all about. Your body is withdrawing from all of the crappy junk that you are eating, that you are no longer putting in your body. So if you're thinking about doing the carnivore diet and you've had the surgery, even if you haven't had the surgery, do it. We would love to have you along. It is a great lifestyle. So if you have any questions or comments, put them down below. I will answer them to the best of my knowledge and try to help y'all out. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, stop eating processed foods. I want to give a special shout out to my two little Dachshund puppies, Willie and Johnson. I want to thank them so much for barking in the background of my video. I always know that they are here and always fighting for my attention. I just wanted to give y'all a little montage of my sweet little pups. Hope you guys enjoy them as much as I do. And thanks again for joining me, you guys. And until next time, keep smiling, you guys. Bye.